This is the Revolution Roundtable, a weekly panel discussion of all the latest news, music, and world issues. Join us every week at 8 p.m. Eastern for great conversation. And now, here's your host, Craig Gador.
Yes, here we are. Here we are, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. This is episode 7. I'm pretty sure it's episode 7 of Revolution Roundtable. My name is Craig G. I am the music director here at the Music Channel. We like to call this a radio station. It's not quite a radio station because we're not on an FM wave band, but we are online. And we love doing what we do. So you can check us out. www.revolutionradio.live is all of the links that you need to check us out live 24/7, 365. We play the best music on the planet. That's all there is to it. So I'm going to introduce some friends tonight. Beside me, to my left, your right, essentially, is good pal, old friend Robin McCabe. We've known Robin. Well, Jen, you went to university with Robin, I believe, right? Wow. And that was just a few years ago. Right.
Certainly doesn't feel like that.
Yeah,
Robin and I used to be the only ones online at 4:00 in the morning on our intranet. So we talked plenty back then.
Oh,
nice.
Tons and tons. We even did marathons.
We did.
Yeah. Nice. Robin, what school are you at right now?
I'm at Dr. Norman Bethune Collegiate.
Okay, Bethune. Oh, okay.
It's a great school. Absolutely
nice.
Phenomenal school. Great kids. The math department I work with is phenomenal.
Right. Awesome. That's great. Good stuff. Thank you, my friend. Below him, Effie. Effie, what's your last name? How do you pronounce your last name again?
Vernuccio.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Love it.
That's right.
Awesome. And so Effie and Jen worked together at Lamoureux.
That's right.
For a couple of years, I believe. Yeah.
That's right.
And they hit it off, became fast friends. Jen would come home from work and confess her absolute love to Effie every single time. She'd come home from work. I would pick her up from school, and she would say, "I love Effie so much.
I love Effie so much.
I love Effie. She's one of my besties."
Bright.
That's right.
Exactly.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
And Effie, what school are you at right now?
Well, right now I'm at Sir Wilfrid Laurier Collegiate, but I won't be there in June. I'm leaving Laurier, and I'm going back to Lamoureux. Lamoureux is my home school. And,
Fantastic.
And what's interesting is I've made a lot of furrows into Laurier this year, but it just wasn't meant to be for me to stay there. One furrow, I'm not sure if I told you this, Jen, if I had a chance, because when Jen and I text, it's just like, a flurry of texts, and then our thumbs get tired, and I'm like, damn it, I'm just going to call you, okay? So, and I also took over the Student Equity Club. Okay. So I became the staff advisor for student equity and student voice. Okay. And a lot of stuff is rolled into that, including protection of and membership of the 2S LGBTQ plus population at Laurier.
Wonderful.
So, and that was a very, very important part of that, because we actually made sure that we had the going acronym correctly. It's like, okay, no, wait a second. No, are we going to put 2 T's? Are we going to put the I? Wait a second. Don't forget the 2S.
Does the number 2 fit in there anywhere?
Yeah, because I would always say LGBTQ 2S plus, and that rolled off my tongue naturally. But now what we've done, because, with Indigenous voices, is the 2S's first.
Yeah.
So it's 2S LGBTQ plus.
Nice.
So,
excellent.
So anyway.
Sometimes I just say Q plus.
Yeah, you could.
Because that's kind of umbrella.
Yes.
Are you going to introduce me, DJ Craig G?
I was just getting to that. I was just waiting for
Well,
Effie to finish.
anytime.
Do you see what I mean, guys? Telling me how to do my job. Below me is my best friend in the world. And yes,
Oh wait,
she is my beautiful partner, my beautiful wife,
No,
my
this
lovely
way,
Jen.
this way, this way.
And she, yes, that's right. She is, well, easy for me. She's right below
you.
me.
Yeah.
And so Jen is currently at Sir Johnny McDonald. And that's where she is as of right now.
Well, I'm currently at virtual secondary school, which I like a lot more.
Right.
Mhm.
Well, there you go. Yeah.
But all our homeschools are in wonderful Scarberia.
Yep, they are. We're all in Scarborough.
That's right. Yeah, that's right.
Really?
Oh, yeah, but that's right. Bethune is in Scarborough. That's right.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we're all in
I'm
Scarborough. I thought you
steps
meant the
from
virtual
Lamoureux,
school.
I could
that's right.
literally spit to your school from where I am. So
That's right. Yeah, I keep forgetting. Yeah, you guys are close.
Actually, Bethune is one of our evacuation schools.
Yep.
Right? So it's like I could walk to Bethune. And I've
So
got
what-
summer school there.
What's an evacuation school for those layman people like us, like me?
Well, if anything happens, like for instance,
A flood, a fire.
Oh.
something dire that where we need to also take shelter.
Mhm.
And exiting from, let's say, a certain part of that's part of the school, the north part of the school,
Mhm.
we walk up to Bethune
Okay.
and shelter there. It's also an effort to make sure that everyone is in attendance, everyone is taken care of. We know where every body is.
Mhm. Excellent. Okay. Good. So the way we start out this program every week is we just end up doing what we like to call a quick wellness check. COVID-19 has just kicked the crap out of everybody, and we just want to make sure that peeps are doing okay. So Effie, we're going to start with you. How are you doing?
Doing all right. I'm a month vaccinated now with the first vax. Cannot tell you the sense of relief you get knowing that shot went in your arm. And we're doing okay, but God, there's so much to unpack from that question, Craig, because oh God, like we can talk about it later in the sense that the disconnect that I'm feeling as an individual and as a teacher has really weighed down my soul, and Jen knows that that's why I did not go into virtual school. Even so, as someone who's at risk with a medical condition, a disease that would put me at a much further risk than other people with a stronger immune system, I knew at the end of our emergency remote learning last year that there was no way I could do virtual school full time. If I don't have a connection with the students, my well-being suffers.
Okay.
So that's another thing, but it's so hard. So we're hanging in. Everyone's hanging in. The kids are hanging in. But it's hard on them too.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Robin, how are you, my friend?
Well, I'm hanging in there as well. And like Effie, I wouldn't do virtual school because that connection, that live connection between students, it makes such a big difference.
Yeah.
And my students who had me in the previous quad, where they saw me both live and virtual, we had shut down at the end of towards the end of quad 3, and the students were telling me, up on the side, they say, "You're a completely different teacher live than you are virtual." And it's really it's the circumstance that you're given. Right? In that live, I'm in there, I'm on fire, I'm just ready to. I feed off of the energy of my students, and virtually, you just can't do it.
Yeah,
it's almost.
I've done my best.
I've tried pulling teeth. I've tried cracking jokes, but it's just not the same atmosphere at all. And I'm with Effie. I could never do virtual school.
Yeah,
couldn't.
Well, it's interesting. I think what we'll do is we'll maybe start out the conversation. You know, Jen, I just want to quickly how are you doing, sweetheart? Just so everybody out there knows.
Well, today I got my COVID shot, first one.
Yay!
And they
Yes.
put it right in my squirrel. Can you
Right
see
in her
that?
right in the middle of her tattoo.
Right in the
Oh.
middle of my squirrel here. And the
Wow.
squirrel was designed by a grade 11 class at CW Jeffries.
Mm.
And they designed it for my birthday in art class and gave it to me with like a cake, forks, napkins, plates, pop. And we celebrated my birthday. And I always want to remember my connection with my kids. So I put that on. And every time I look at it, I think I can have brilliant classes.
Mhm.
And that's what I hang on to.
Mm-hmm.
If we can actually talk about that for the three of you, because I think with Effie and Robin, the two of you have had maybe a bit of a different experience as far as things go for this past year, as far as COVID-19 and teaching goes, as opposed to what Jennifer's experienced. Jen's really, from what I've seen, had a very positive experience in regards to virtual school. Could you want to just all of you touch on that?
Robin, you want to go first?
Sure. Well, one thing that's definitely different for this year in terms of teaching virtually versus live. Well, first of all, I'm teaching science for the first time in 21 years, which is, I know, Effie. It's brutal. It's brutal. You have to plan fresh and so forth. The last time I taught science, 21 years ago, actually, I have a particular student who I remember I taught 21 years ago. She's one of the reporters for CP24. She goes by the name of Christina Tenalia. I don't know if you guys are familiar with her.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course.
She was a grade 10 science student of mine, and that actual class was the last time I taught science, and that was
Wow.
21 years ago. And
Wow.
it's and here I am teaching grade 9 science, and I'm going, oh my, what have I gotten myself into? Why do I have this as a qualification? But outside of that, I've been teaching math for so many years, and I had the experience last year was this. It was really interesting because, and Effie, I think you might have had a different experience than I did. But when I was placed in this, okay, we got to do our best with what we've got. I did a lot of research, downloaded a lot of software, and somehow, through the grace of the man upstairs, I finished all my courses. And when I asked my students, how was the experience doing it virtually? They turned around and said, sir, it was just like being in your classroom.
Oh, that's
Because I teach with a lot of technology. I have like a tablet in my hand. I'm looking at a smart board. I've got laptops set up and so forth. And when I realized
The TDSB can actually afford those things?
well,
we do.
Oh, right. Yeah, of course. Yeah.
The thing here, though, is that you can teach with the smartboard software without a smartboard.
Right.
And when I started realizing I could do that, then all of a sudden a whole bunch of opportunities opened up for me.
Yeah.
And it was
TDSB.
an incredible experience. It was the last 2 months of that year was great. My students walked into their next math courses, knowing their stuff, and that was phenomenal, and that was great. Would I do that again? Hell no. It's like that was a different experience, but I think one thing that we teachers have always been dealing with, and that's been the theme for the last 15, 16 months we've been doing this, is that we have this incredible ability to adapt.
Yeah.
And I think it's because of that ability to adapt that we are holding our own. It's not ideal. It's not a great situation, but we are doing the best that we can. And these students that we're teaching can actually see it, and they actually appreciate it.
Well said. Effie?
Absolutely. Here, Robin. I will tell you something, what you just said. We absolutely have this incredible ability to adapt to the situations. Look what's happened since September. Do this. Now you got to do that. Now you got to change to do that. And the word pivot, I want to scrub that from my vocabulary.
Yeah.
But we cannot. But that's what we've done. There are times when I felt like a puppet on a string, and I don't have the wherewithal to fight it anymore. It's just okay, like, all quiet on the Western Front. It's like, okay, once more into the breach, and that's what we're doing. But the unfortunate thing about what Robin was saying with our incredible and flexible adaptability is the fact that it becomes a double-edged sword. Because, oh, look, the teachers can make it work.
It becomes an expectation.
More.
Yeah.
It's an expectation that if they can do this, then they can do that.
Right.
And then it becomes more. And then we're sitting there because we're governed by one basic tenet, the strongest foundation that we have. We're there for the kids.
Right.
Right? And if we're there to educate our students, we will make it work. There's no reason why I go to sleep at 3:00 in the morning, and then I wake up at 7, and then I teach all day, and then I take a nap after for 2 hours so I can just repeat the cycle.
Right.
Because I can find more work time. There's no reason for that. I shouldn't have to do that. But that is what it has come down to. Talking about the remote learning period last year, that was officially an emergency remote learning period. And my semester with 3 amazing classes, fantastic students,
They make the difference.
like wonderful students and eager to learn and so smart.
Yeah.
And and just a pleasure to teach. And all of a sudden March 13 happens, right? Boom.
Yeah.
You're not going back. And I will tell you, I had to make a decision. Whereas you said you were able to finish the course, Robin. I don't know about you, Jen, but I had to make a decision. And the decision it was, what content do I cut out to guarantee that my students stay engaged, yet I still get them to learn the skills that they need so that they'll be okay for September.
I don't know. Like, I'm a taskmaster. I have like a million assignments in a quad. I'm just like, next. I want to scaffold everything that they learned in grade 9 because I teach grade 11 and a lot of them missed grade 10.
Yes,
So
I know.
I'm back to simple literary essay.
Yeah, well, what I've done is I've taken, so like for instance, this year, like I taught grade 10 and 11 last semester, academic and university. So I knew that, for instance, the students that I had this year, the ones in grade 10, I had grade 11. I'm currently with grade 12 right now, as I was in quad 2. I know that they missed concepts. So I've merged some elements from their previous course to their current
Exactly.
course to bridge that gap.
Yeah.
And scaffold, doing more formative assessment.
Right.
I did too many assignments in quad 2 and I almost buried myself. I mean,
there has to be a limit. Yeah.
I work all day and all night.
Well, I was physically affected.
Especially if you're in a quadmester where you don't have a prep period.
Prep.
That's right.
There's no prep and you can't be a good teacher.
The only positive thing about me teaching science this quad is that I do have that prep.
Yeah. But you know what they'll tell us, right?
The previous 2 quads, I didn't.
Yeah.
Can I share
I was teaching
something?
4 different courses in those 4 different sections.
Can I share something with you?
Sure.
What's that, Jen?
I am the CL of senior English in virtual school. My timetable for next year is 5 drama and 1 geography.
Wow.
I don't teach geography.
Oh.
So
they have to make you sign for that if you agree to that.
I did 21 years ago.
But is it evidence but not certified on your
know it. Yep.
Yes. That's enough to put you in that situation.
It's an
Yeah.
EBNC for me too. And just to link with you, Robin, 21 years ago was also the last time I taught grade 9 applied science.
Oy.
Yeah.
Oy.
But that was a whole different situation. But that was the year that got me the geography EBNC. But
what are these short forms that you guys are talking?
Sorry,
What's an EBNC?
Experience, but not qualified.
certified.
Not certified.
Evident, yeah.
Okay.
Experience, but not
Certifiable, maybe,
certified.
but not certified.
Yeah.
Sorry, I said it first.
Jen's going to take you guys through a wonderful little, what do we call it? A diatribe of all those short form things. She's got a little thing for you, though. No? Oh.
Listen,
Oh my God,
I told you to write it.
You're on the spot. You're on the spot.
Lamoureux is famous. Famous. For sure.
So the QNC at the PCL, beside the AQ, EQ, and beside that, you've got yourself, part of the pedagogy. You've got to make sure that you've got the CIL and the CIA with the FBI and the blah, blah, blah. It's like, oh my God.
The NSA,
And the NSA, like I hear Jen talking to the vice principals on virtual school, and she's saying all this stuff. And I'm literally like,
I'm like, we got to get some UDL before the OSSLT, and then we got.
And meanwhile, Craig's
and
there
he's
saying,
going,
"OMG,
what
is
you
this?
fucking talking about?
what the hell is a UDL?
Yeah, well, the UDL is part of the SIP.
Oh, okay.
No, it is.
That's great, Effie.
They need
And you have to
ILPs
do
to go
DI
for their
and UDL
IEPs.
for the IEPs before the OSSLT.
But
Right, I know what an
And all
Teachers
this
can
are all
do
WTF moments.
Exactly. I know what an IEP is. I know what an IEP is. I know what that is. Jen's told me about that.
Can I, before we tell our story about the interview from hell, can I show off my shirt?
Yeah,
Okay.
I want to see it. Grammar police. To serve and correct. Oh, I must have one of those. You know I'm a freelance editor. I have to have that shirt.
I know,
need
it's
that
awesome.
shirt.
I have this one here. I hope you can see this here.
Thought criminal.
Shoot, I have like fun shirts upstairs. I have my Star Wars one upstairs with Yoda that says
Nice.
With the Force I teach. You know?
Nice.
Yeah, learn it you will, teach it I shall, with the Force I teach. That's what it
Nice.
says. Yoda's on the front. I love those shirts. Or
I love English nerd shirts. I do. I gotta say, I have many.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm like that.
So, Craig, tell Robin and Effie about my best interview ever.
Okay, so this happened before.
I hate interviews.
Was this before Henry?
No, it was after Henry.
After Henry. Okay, so Jen was trying to get essentially a job somewhere a little closer to home because she was traveling quite a distance.
Yeah.
So what had happened was, what was the operation from?
It was an abdominoplasty to solve a problem I had in pregnancy where my guts were coming out of my abdominal muscles.
Yeah, so it was quite nasty. So Jen had to have this surgery. She ends up getting this surgery done by a wonderful doctor here in Markham. Unfortunately, though, she got an infection, which then turned into
diabetes gives you skin infections. So.
And that turned into a staph infection. And so what happened was she ends up going to the doctor, and she has to get this pump put into her abdomen. So there's this it's like the thing that the dentist put in your mouth kind of thing, to suck the saliva out. Yeah. They basically put one of those in her abdomen.
It was a vacuum attached to a computer.
I got this, Jen. I got this. Okay. So basically the machine, she has to wear this machine with a strap, and it sits on her hip. And from this thing, basically it works based on gravity. So she has to wear the hose around her neck so that it gets pumped through gravity and then gets sucked into this machine. So she's wearing this machine when she goes for, I believe it was an ACL position. There's another short form for you, assistant curriculum leader position. at a school. I think it was at McCowan and Lawrence area.
Oh, David and Mary Thompson?
It might have been David and Mary Thompson. Yeah, it might have been something like that. So
Not
they had
Bentley.
they had an ACL open for English, basically.
Oh, that's
So
I'm sorry. That's Woburn.
No,
No,
Woolburn's
Campbell.
off of
Albert Campbell. I'm sorry. That's Albert.
It was
Okay,
Albert
Campbell.
Campbell.
That's right, Albert Campbell.
There you go.
Thank you.
I know
That's
my
what it was.
Scarborough schools.
Yeah. Woolburn's
And you know
across
what?
Ellesmere.
I'm so prepared for this interview.
So he's so incredibly prepared for this interview, like really prepared for this interview.
Really
But what
prepared.
this machine does, every 45 seconds to a minute or so, it makes this sound, and then you hear this sucking sound going through this machine. So the problem is that Jennifer did her best to hide the hose going around her neck, but it's a clear tube and you can see blood going through this hose. So I pull up in front of
flesh like zipping through it.
I pull up out front of Albert Campbell, and I said in park. I said into the park, and I said, "Jennifer, honey, good luck." And I give her a kiss, and she's like, "I don't know how this is going to go with this goddamn machine, but I'm going to do my best." She goes inside. Jen, take it away.
I go inside. There's a panel of 3 people. I sit down, and they stare at me in a very uncomfortable way. They ask me the first question, and as soon as I opened my mouth, it was about pedagogy.
Oh, no.
And they asked the first question, and I was like, well, actually, the kind of pedagogy that I like to follow is... and little bits of shit are floating around my tube. And every time they asked a question, my machine went off. And it was like whirring and sucking and whirring and sucking.
So she was literally cracking bricks.
I don't think they heard a word I said.
So that interview literally sucked.
That interview literally sucked from beginning to end.
Jen says to me,
the machine is so loud. Like, it wasn't like a minor sucking. It was like a vacuum picking up particulate. Like, it was like absolutely sucking my flesh out of my stomach.
and bits are going around the hose and coming down this side and going into the machine. And the people are sitting there all like...
And so, the interview kind of came to a weird close, and I said, I really apologize for my machine, but it's temporary, and it's only going to be on for another month. And they said, we hardly noticed. And the thing is sucking and like whirring and whirring. It's like,
that's what I was and you're full of shit, you know.
Oh God! So I leave the interview, and
she comes walking,
to laugh in front of the people, but I think it's hilarious. So I go down to the car.
She comes back to the car and she opens the door, and she's got this big smile on her face. And I look at her and I go, "Jenny, how did it go?" And she goes, "I didn't get the job."
For sure not.
Wow.
And I didn't. I made them so uncomfortable.
You know,
honestly,
I had a
it was
like that for this year.
Yeah.
Oh my
This
Lord.
year's been horrible for me.
Yeah.
Where the interviews are concerned. I only have I can share my interview story after. I want Jen to finish up with what she was saying. So needless to say, you didn't get that position.
Needless to say, she did not get that job, and it was just, but honest to God, she told me
looked shocked.
Horrified, like
horrified the whole time.
What is wrong with this woman, right?
And bits are floating, bits are going around.
Like blood red, like going around.
Bits, like
around her.
going around her neck
the
from one
machine-
side of the host to the other. We're sitting in the car together.
Fuck.
We are sitting in the car together. I shit you not. I had to sit there for about 15 minutes while she told me the story because I was bawling my eyes out laughing.
Oh my
But you
god!
want to know something?
I couldn't see 5 feet in front of the car to drive. Like I had to sit there and wait.
But
Wow.
what bugs me about that is that how long ago was this, Jen?
Oh, how long ago? Is this 5 years?
5, 6 years, something like
these
that. Yeah.
people are supposed to be freaking inclusive.
Right.
They're supposed
Okay,
to be.
they
Oh,
were
you
not
think.
interested
You
in
think.
being inclusive with me. I was way too gross for them to have me there.
I'm just.
They looked disgusted, like they were horrified.
I can't believe
Just
it.
the fact too that they said, "Oh, we hardly noticed that." When
We
she told me
hardly
that,
noticed.
when she
How
told,
could you
when
not
Jen,
do it? The thing's sucking and
when
sucking.
Jen told me that they said that, that's literally where I threw my head back in the car. I took my glasses off and started bawling with laughter. I couldn't
That they
stop
barely
laughing.
noticed?
Yeah.
Yeah, I like it when
We
it's
hardly
normalized.
noticed. I was like,
Yeah.
you gotta be
Well,
crazy.
are we used to that, Effie? I mean, come on.
Oh yeah, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Just to piggyback on that, I don't think it's a big secret that I don't want to go back to Lamoureux, and it makes me sad that I feel that way. But I don't want to go back to Lamoureux because of one particular reason. But my colleagues are great. The teachers there. I have,
Jed.
yeah, I have a vice principal who supports me. You know who, Jen?
Gopal.
Yeah.
Oh, I know Gopal very, very well.
Yeah.
He was at CW Jeffries
Sometimes
for
I
many
can't
years.
understand him, but he's
Oh,
very
cool.
smart.
I didn't know
at,
he was then.
He
It
was
doesn't-
at Jeffries.
I didn't know he was at Jeffries.
Let me
Wow.
tell
yeah.
you something about Gopal. And I'm going to plug him here because someone has to hear this. Because this man has been a vice principal for quite a few years. And he deserves to be a principal. He deserves to have his own school. There are vice principals who may be vice principals only for like maybe 4 years because they've done 2 years in one school, 2 years in another, and then they get offered a school. I can understand that. But Gopal has been working his tush off. And it's not just that. He is all about the students, but he's all about the teachers as well, and the communication, the connections between the two. The man is very fair. He's very understanding. He wouldn't let the principal fail another teacher on the TPA. There's another acronym, the teacher performance
Teacher
appraisal,
performance appraisal.
right?
Thank you.
Because he said, no. He goes, I'll work with the teacher. I'll help the teacher to improve, and you'll see the teacher's going to be fine. And that's exactly what happened. So this
Well, good
man,
for him. Good for him.
you know,
I'll add a little bit about Gopal. So, of all the administrations that have come and gone in my 20 plus years with the Toronto District School Board, Gopal, his first assignment was Jeffries, and he used to be
As a vice president,
as a vice principal. Yeah,
principal. Sorry.
principal.
Yeah. Right. Wow.
He was the assistant curriculum leader, or the curriculum leader at the time, because Westview was a big school. But he was the curriculum leader of science at Westview, and he ended up being appointed as the vice principal at Jeffries, and he was there. I want to say 5.5 years.
Yeah.
Long for a VP.
Yes.
Very long for a VP at one particular school.
And it's a
He was there
tough
for 5.5
school.
years, and it's a tough school.
Yeah.
It's
Jeffries
a
is
tough
he was
school.
he was perfect for the job because I would say for any Star Trek fans out there, he was the Jean-Luc Picard of CW Jeffries. He was the consummate diplomat.
Yes. Yes.
He's extremely diplomatic. He's got a good head on his shoulders. He watches out for his teachers. And whenever we had a disagreement, we had her say in the office, we shook hands, and that was that.
Yeah.
He
He's a straight-up guy
he wanted me to be the ACL at Lemro, but
because he
a
knows
certain
good.
person was already in with the principal.
Oh, see, and that's the
Yeah.
thing, right?
Yeah.
I also know who the principal of Lamoureux is. I'll reserve comment on that.
Let's
Um,
all.
We need to talk, Robin.
Yeah, we'll talk off air.
I was going to say, just so you all know, don't forget this is
Definitely
live.
off
Talk
air.
off
Okay.
air.
We are live, just so you
We're
know.
not
Yeah.
dissing or
We are-
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
no.
We are off air, but I know the administration. I know Gopal, and Gopal's a really, really good guy.
Yeah, Jen always
the
had
reason
good
why
things
he's
to
not
say
a
about him,
principal
too.
is because he has to have a second school,
Yes.
and Lamoureux is the second school.
So that means now Lamoureux.
So he could become a principal next year if an opportunity arises.
I hope so, and I hope if he stays in the East, I want him to take me with him. No, you need to.
And my Jen.
I've told him, I said Bethune will always welcome you. So
Honestly, working with Effie again is my dream job.
Her in English and me in the library. I'll be the ACL of library. She'll be the ACL of English, and we'll
That
just
would
rock
be
it. We'll rock
the
that
most
shit.
perfect connection.
Honestly, the kids,
That
I'm telling you
school
right
would
now.
benefit
I'm telling
so
you.
much
Yep,
from that
abso-friggin-lutely.
partnership.
I'm telling you right now, if that was the case at any high school in the in the TDSB, hopefully in the East End, that would be a magical partnership. I can assure you of that, because I know what it was like hearing Jennifer talk about being excited about being at LAM and working with people like Effie and working, unfortunately, Robin and Jen, you guys never really worked together, but Jen would always
kind of.
Jen would always say, I saw Robin today, and we gave me a big, bear Robin hug, and so it's like, people that Jen talks about always, what am I trying to say here? Basically, they're people that she will never, ever, ever forget. Because the thing for me with Jenny is that if she hits it off with someone, she hits it off with them for life, So sorry if I'm my words are kind of a little jumbled here because I'm getting an echo. So I'm hearing myself talk and I'm not sure that I'm finishing my sentences entire.
I'm used to that.
Yeah, that's right.
Zoom calls?
Right. Yeah, right. Exactly. Yeah. Okay.
Let me finish what I was going to say quickly about the interview. I wish I had something like that, Jen, that I could fall back on. I can't.
Really?
The only thing that the only thing that I can say is that I feel like I got 180'd. And that's because this was a job interview that I really wanted, actually. It was for the SWAC position, another acronym, school within a college, dual credit.
Okay.
So centralized position. The central principal who interviewed me was the same principal who denied me twice at Lester B. Pearson 3 years ago. And I didn't know that. I sucked it up, though. I'm like, okay, whatever. The thing is, I had done this interview before back in 2017. And I got really good. I didn't get the position. Like 18 people applied for it. They could only hire 2. And I got some really good feedback on it. So I was prepared this time because I had written down notes. I did my research. All my answers were ready to be geared towards the school within a college, to help these kids re-engage with schools so they can go into a post-secondary institution like the colleges, all that. And then I got hornswoggled because all of the questions made me answer with experiences from what I had done as an ACL in a high school. You know what I mean? So I got thrown off by the questions. They almost had nothing to do with the college atmosphere, which is what I would be going into. And I used to work at Seneca College. I taught it 5 years at the part-time continuing ed for Seneca College while I was working full-time during the day for TDSB.
What did you teach?
At college?
Yeah.
I taught the EAC 150 at Seneca College. That is college writing. It's the prerequisite for about 98% of the programs at Seneca
Wow.
College.
Very important. Very important.
Yeah, and now I wasn't the only one teaching it, mind you. Remember that. I'm not saying that I was the only one who taught it, but I was one of the people that my coordinator trusted to put on a Monday night. And the reason why is because Monday night the classes were always full to 30, and they had wait lists. And my diagnostics and my assessment of the students through their diagnostics told me and told my coordinator who I don't want to say weed out, but who you could see was in the wrong course. Right. And so that we could direct them into a course to help build up their skills first. And then, because remember, college is money, right?
Right. Yeah.
So even if they were able to get into our course through the assessment and battery, I that sounds so bad when you think about it now. But through when we would assess as instructors, we assessed hordes of people and directed them into the appropriate courses. But if like, no one wants a high failure rate. But my failure rate was always 33%. And those were of the students who stayed in the course. So my coordinator knew that I wasn't I didn't give out marks like candy and things like that. That I had these values, that I had these standards for them to pass these courses. So that's, and it was so gifted. But I have a funny story about Seneca if you want to share it another time.
Cool.
It's funny now, not at the time.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, like the interview thing. Like, it wasn't funny when I was sitting there.
Yeah.
It was funny when I left.
Well, it's truth is stranger than fiction.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely.
That's what happened.
Effie, you should write the story of my interview and turn it into erotica. Ew,
that would be more like horror.
Ew.
That's horror.
There is a market out there for it. You never know.
Yeah, that's
people that get turned on.
True.
No,
People that get turned on by the staph infection sucking machine.
Yeah.
You never know.
I'm sorry, Jen. I love you. You know this, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I would
But
never
no.
be able to write.
I know it.
Okay.
All right.
I'd rather write a different story involving you in erotica, but
Ooh.
Oh,
Fat chick gets laid.
Robin's like, oh, hold
well,
up.
here we go.
Let's go.
All right. Well, listen,
Yeah.
this conversation is getting awesome. So let's keep going here. So we basically, Jen, put together a quick itinerary of stuff we would like to talk about. And then I've written a couple of things down here that you guys have brought up. I was wondering could any of you talk about, I'm sure all of you can probably talk about, if you could just pick one for me. Each one of you pick a teacher, and Robin, we'll start with you. A teacher that really got you and made a difference in your life. Not necessarily made you say, okay, I'm going to be a teacher as well, but just a teacher that basically you'll never forget.
There's one in particular, but believe it or not, it was a university professor.
Okay.
I took math just because I knew I was good at it, but I really didn't know why. And the first couple of years for me was pretty rough. Between my first and second year, my father had died suddenly, and I was just wallowing. I was extremely frustrated. The highest mark I was able to shank out was a B+, and I barely got through my second year linear algebra course and so forth. But I took this third year classic algebra course, and the moment Dr. Walter Whiteley showed up and walked into the classroom, he revolutionized, nice word, by the way, he revolutionized, for me, my world, and made me realize why I was good at math and why I was able to do math the way I was doing things. He made me see things as a mathematician, and I am forever in his debt, because there was a period of time where I felt like I was going to walk away.
Wow.
And Walter Whiteley, I mean, I've had a lot of good professors. I've posted recently, I've lost all of my stats professors who were great. Last one passing away just before Christmas. But no, Walter Whiteley, he's still around, and I keep in touch with him now and then. But he's retired from York University. But that man, basically, I would not be where I am today if it wasn't for him.
That's awesome.
Wow.
That's awesome. Effie?
Wow. I'm a people person. I get along with everybody. I've always been strong in school, and honestly, it's my parents who fed me the strength to get me through. But there are two teachers. One, he was Mr. Clark taught me in writer's craft, and
What high
he-
school did you go to? Sorry.
Oh, Wexford Collegiate.
Okay. Yep.
Yeah. Which it was Wexford Collegiate at the time. Now it's Wexford Collegiate School of the Arts.
Yeah, that's right.
So Mr. Clark taught writer's craft. I ended up getting a 95 in that class.
Holy.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah. So
Holy, that's
I
yeah.
never got
That's-
95 in
that's good.
classes.
Yeah, I never pulled that
I
off.
don't even.
Wow.
I didn't even know 95 existed.
Well, I'll tell you about OAC in a moment, but because I am an OAC girl, just thought I'd let you guys know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm an OAC guy too.
I'm an OIC guy too. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
We all were. Yep.
Oh yeah. So, but there was one assignment that Mr. Clark gave, like write a letter or something like that to someone expressing something, and I was like, or it wasn't a letter; it was something to write down. Not even a journal. I don't even remember what it was. But what I do remember is that I was flummoxed. I was, oh my God, what am I going to write? I have no idea.
Right.
So if you've ever seen the movie Finding Forrester, when the actor, rest in peace, Sean Connery, whatever, he gave him the start of his essay, and then the other character filled it in. The ideas just flowed from there, like a paragraph starter. With me, I just started writing, hello, Mr. Clark. I don't really know what I'm going to write for you. I'm a little confused about this, but then, and then all of a sudden the thoughts just started flowing, and it was very stream of consciousness, but it was very, it was introspective and very stream of consciousness. And for something that I thought was just absolutely nothing, I thought I bungled that. He actually commented on it in front of the class and photocopied it and made it an exemplar for his class.
Wow.
So that made me feel really good, and kind of, brought some order out of the chaos that I thought that my thoughts were on that page. And he brought order to it. And I think that has influenced me in some way, in that no matter where the thoughts are, look for the critical thinking, look for the deep thinking, look for the introspection and the deep thought, and you'll find it. So he taught me that, and that's something that I put forth into my lessons and how I deal with students, because I listen for it, not just read it, right? But my other teacher for OAC English was Mr. Tomlinson, and he was hard. But I'm like, psh,
I
got-
like hard, yeah.
But I'm like, I got an 84 in grade 12 advanced English. I am the English aficionado. No problem. I got this bag, like everything is cool. And then I get my first 65. And I'm like, what the fuck? You know, so it's just, you know,
Very
so
ouch.
when you've been so strong in a subject all your life,
Yeah.
then all of a sudden you got the, you know,
Get the
on
shit
an
slapped out of
essay.
you. Yeah.
Yeah, you're like,
Yeah.
what? Now the thing
Wow.
with me is I'm tenacious. That's why I'm the doorknob who will interview for the same position twice because I got rejected the first time, but I'll say, yeah, well, I'm going to interview again. You know, meanwhile, it's like crushing my soul, but I got to prove to them that I'm going to do it again. So, so this happened with Mr. Tomlinson. So I'm like, you know what? I'm not having this shit. So I went to him. I go, okay, can you please tell me where I went wrong and how I could fix this?
Yeah.
So little by little, he was showing me stuff. Your writing is a little bit sloppy. This is how you properly use a semicolon. Make sure you do this. Make sure you do that. And lo and behold, it was almost like a 500-word essay a week with this guy.
Wow.
And then the next week, my mark was still a 65. And then the following week, it went to 68. So let's just say 2 more weeks passed by. I end up getting a 72. I got this from him after school, and I'm looking at it, and I'm like, not a word of a lie, I went, in class. I started laughing like that. And he's looking at me going, are you okay? And I'm like, yeah, I am. Needless to say,
Because you were getting better.
Yeah. I ended that class with 77%. Now, back then, when we were applying to universities, we didn't have to always score this 95, 96, 93. These students are under such competition right now, and the desire for these high marks is almost incapacitating for some students.
And sometimes unachievable, and that's not their fault.
That's right. It's not. They're
Right.
up against some sort of almost unbeatable system that doesn't look at their real talents and what they can do and what they can contribute to society in the future.
Yeah.
So with a 77% was hard won. It was hard fought. It meant more to me than any I could have gotten in Mr. Clark's OAC English class. I value that 77. It still got me into university. It still got me here, but I value.
Boy, did you learn something, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
That's what makes a good teacher. It's not the mark they give, it's the way they deliver the content and the way they get the students to understand the material.
Right.
Yeah.
So, but I also understood I had to make that journey halfway as well. Right?
Yeah. A teacher can't do it alone.
No.
Right? There's takes two to really put a good dance on. So
It takes two to tango, that's right.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Jennifer. Yeah, sorry.
Mo Jacobs.
I'm taking over.
Mo Jacobs, OAC Writer's Craft. I had won the grade 12 award for English. And when I got into Jacob's class, I showed him my poetry from grade 12. And it was about 5 poems I showed him. And every single poem he crumpled up and threw in the garbage in front of me.
Yep.
And he said, "This is garbage. And you can do better."
What did he say? You're smacking me across the face with something?
Your metaphors.
Your metaphors, yeah. You're literally smacking me across the face with your
"You're
metaphors.
beating me over the head with your metaphors." He's like, "Be a little subtle, will you?" So through him, I learned how to write poetry. And then when I got into university, I got into the creative writing program, which education had to take me out of because you have to be an English major, not a creative writing major, to be an English teacher. But Mo and I used to run off school property and smoke cigarettes together.
Troublemaker.
And he would just tell me what shit I was. And no other teacher had ever dared tell me that.
That you were a shit or you were the shit?
No, I was just shit.
Okay.
I was no good. Like I was immature. My writing was immature, and it bothered him.
That's what he used to say. That's right. Yeah, you told me that.
Yeah.
He said your writing's immature.
This is an aside. Please notice that if you were a shit, that's a noun as well. But the shit can also be a noun.
Yeah.
But you changed it into an adjective. You see how we can take the word shit and change into the different parts of speech.
Isn't the shit
words are so versatile.
Isn't the shit an abstract noun?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Wait,
right.
Go, Craig.
Thank you.
But
I'm actually not a bad writer.
Mo Jacobs, and he was wonderful, and I bumped into him later on at an OSSTF convention, and he was one of the arbitrators for OSSTF.
Wow. That's
nice.
Cool.
I have two that still stick out in my mind, and they're both at Stouffville High, where I went to high school, where I graduated high school. David Boyd, Mr. Boyd, my music teacher. Loved him. He was
thought
amazing.
You were going to say Bowie there for a second. What?
Yeah, that would be tricky.
David Bowie, my music teacher. Yeah, oh my God.
Right.
That would have been cool.
The Thin White Duke is my music teacher. That's correct. Yeah. We'd start out class every day playing Let's Dance
Ziggy Stardust.
Ziggy Stardust,
yeah. Say that,
yeah.
Ashes,
That's right.
Ashes.
Yeah, Rebel. Yeah. Rebel was my final performance. No, so David Boyd, wonderful guy. Still keep in touch with him to this day. And unfortunately, another teacher that I've lost track of. I was in touch with him until probably the early 2000s. Richard Duell was his name. And he was my media teacher. And I loved him. He was great. One of my English and media teachers. And he and I really hit it off. And he was like, you've got such a voice. Like, you need to be doing radio. And I appreciated that. And then when I started working at 102.1 The Edge, he was the head of English and media at Newmarket High School. And I went into his classroom one day and surprised him. And he had no idea I was coming. And he turns and looks at me. He's like, "Oh my God, Craig Gador." And I said, "Do you remember when you said you wanted me to be on radio?" And he said, "Yeah." And then I had my pass to get into the radio station at 1 Dundas, and it said Craig Gador, announcer / DJ. And I showed it to him, and I said, "Because of you, here you go." And he was like, "Ladies and gentlemen, 102.1 The Edge radio disc jockey Craig Gador, one of my old students," and his class are all like,
"Wow!"
That is so cute.
Yeah, so that was really cool going and seeing him and surprising him. Yeah, and that was the last time that I saw him, unfortunately. And I loved Richard Duell, Mr. Duell. If you're out there, please, hit me up on Facebook. I'd love to touch base with you again. So we're getting some good ground here, folks. We're covering some great stuff, and let's see what we had next. Okay. So I was wondering I think I have an idea what kind of a student one of you may be, and I'm not going to say which one, but I want to hear who were all of you as students. And Jen, we're going to start with you. Okay. So who were you as a student?
I was the class clown. Mm-hmm. And I had a lot of behavior problems. A lot of my teachers didn't know what to do with me. In math, because I was hopeless in math, my friends used to tell me to act like a guinea pig and eat the textbook. So I'd run up to the front of the class, weep, 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 and I'd eat the textbook. Or then I'd dance through the halls with a candelabra singing like Shabbat Shalom. I was absolutely out of control. I used to go into my English grade 12 class before my teacher got there and stack in some unusual configuration the desks and the chairs in the classroom. So she would walk in and go, "Very cute, Jen, take them down." And
Very
my
cute,
friend
Jen.
Judd, who's with us right now in the chat, my friend Judd was in my grade 12 class, and he spent the entire time rolling a metal foil ball inside his desk. And I wrote all of his essays. So, and I wrote also our friend Dave's essays. So, what I would have to do for every assignment is write one that would get a 60, one that would get a 70, and one that would get a 90.
Brilliant.
And hand them all in with different fonts and shit.
Amazing.
So the two of them passed English
Because of
I
you.
wrote their papers.
Because of you. That's right. Right now, I know Judd is laughing his head off
I
because
know, Judd
he's
was
told me
saying-
that story too.
He used to sit there and like take cigarette foil and like make a ball with it. It was huge. And he'd roll it around in his desk for like the whole class.
Right. Robin, who were you as a student?
Jen's not going to believe this. I was a goody-goody two-shoe.
Holy
Okay.
crap, Robin!
But I was the classic underachiever. I would be like, I'll tell you all my marks in math. And then you look at that and say, how the hell did he become a math teacher? Grade 9, I was 71. Grade 10 was a 67. Grade 11 was 73. And my grade 12 advanced, I had a 66. And then
You became a math teacher.
and I became a math teacher. Yeah. Well, in my OAC year, let's see what happened in my OAC year. 84 in finite, 81 in algebra and geometry, and 90
What
in
was
calculus.
What
90 in
what did you get? 98 in calculus?
90 in calculus.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah.
That's good. So that's pulling up your marks and getting yourself into university. So that's good.
That's
But I actually have to be honest with you. You were the one, Robin, that I was going to say, I think I know who you are as a student, and I was completely wrong. So there you go.
I was not good. I never caused any trouble.
Really?
Wow.
I thought you'd be a class
did.
clown. Yeah.
No, I really emerged as a class clown when I went to university.
Okay.
A lot of my professors who I had, if you drop my name, they'll say, "Oh yeah, I remember Robin McCabe very, very well."
Is that a good thing or a bad thing?
They'll say it in both respects.
Yeah.
I always, in Walter Whiteley's class, I was always the one that would pull out the wacky one-liners that would put everybody in stitches.
Right.
And yeah, everyone knows that, I was on a roll at that time, and I really started to emerge, and it's incredible. Oh, my wife is on, and she's telling me.
My wife.
Hey, Ange.
She's telling me to talk about the math exam. There were two math exams in particular. One of them was a third year, the Walter Whiteley's course, and I showed up to that exam pissed drunk.
Oh,
no way.
I wrote an exam pissed drunk
Absolutely.
too.
What time of the day was it?
It was 3:30 in the afternoon,
Oh.
and
Oh my God.
I was absolutely pissed drunk. And so when I went back to look at my exam, I thought, I don't know what the hell I did. So I looked at the first question that I did. The easiest, 16 marks on the exam. Blew it. Absolutely
goodness.
blew the 16 mark exam. By the way, my final mark on that exam was 84 out of 100.
Wow. That's
Ooh,
called
drunk math.
That's called performance under pressure.
Now,
That's what that
fourth year algebra was another one. The course, the exam was worth about 40 or 50% of the final mark. And I showed up, bombed out of my skull for that one too. And that was 6:30 in the evening, exam on a Thursday.
That's more
So
reasonable.
And kind of went to the pub before I wrote that exam.
Which
But
pub?
I was wasted when I got in there. So
Wow.
I went back the next day to apologize to Truman McHenry, who's still alive, and he's like 98, 99 years old right now. It still goes into York University. So just Truman,
That's awesome.
he'd verify that story. But it was, I went to apologize to him. And Truman said, and Truman said, they were white men, yes. Truman calls me in and says, Robin, I got to talk to you. And I said, oh God, what did I do? Have a seat. So I sat on the couch opposite. He sat at his desk on his chair, and he says, you know what? In all my years of teaching, I never seen an exam quite like this. He handed it to me. I looked at it. It was 100%. I don't remember a damn thing. Do not remember a damn thing I wrote on the exam.
Wow.
Whoa.
What year in university was that? Was that last year?
My fourth year. It wasn't my last year university, but it was my fourth year at no, was it my fourth? Yeah, it was my fourth year at York.
Dude, I'd be flaming that shit and put it on the wall.
Honestly, I would too.
It was they keep the exams. But he said it was absolutely phenomenal. I was extremely happy with the way you were. Meanwhile, I was there to apologize for being pissed drunk for the exam. And here I am. I got 100% on the exam. It's like, oh my God.
So you didn't tell him you were drunk then?
No.
Right? Exactly.
No.
Yeah, that's what that's when you just do. Yeah. You just,
brush
the dirt off the shoulder and
I
say,
crushed it. I was amazed.
It's all
Thank
me.
you, Truman. I walk out going,
That's right.
holy crap, how did I pull that off?
Yeah.
And it's like, wow. Yeah. So thank you, wife.
Before we get to
Angela,
you, before we get to you, Effie, Robin and Effie, did either of you watch The Office?
No.
I've caught the odd episode, but I never
okay.
really got into it.
Well, there is this classic episode of where Dwight from the U.S. office says, "Oh, I'm never sick. I've never been sick. I've never been late for a day." So Jim plays a prank on him where he convinces him that it's actually Friday when it's Thursday. So the next morning you see Dwight getting out of his car and he's like, I'm here. And he's like pulling his clothes, like doing his shirt up as he's running up to the office building. And that was me for my final exam for performance in my first year. I slept through half of it. So I was David Stillwell, great guy, wonderful, wonderful guy. I slept through the beginning of my final exam, of my final performance exam. And that was me literally running through the hallways at Humber in first year going, I'm here. It's okay. I'm here. I'm actually here. I burst open the door and like they're in the middle of a performance and Stillwell standing there with his arms. And he's like, classic Craig. Effie, who were you as a student?
Obviously incredibly boring next to everyone else. I was the quintessential people pleaser. I wanted, everyone to like me. I had friends, everyone was kind of like popular together, and the rockers liked the punk rockers, and the Genos and the Ginas got together with the punk rockers after, and everyone mixed at Wexford. It was wonderful. I'm sorry, I was a people pleaser, and
No, that's cool.
I didn't go.
You are who you are, right?
Yeah, and but it also explains some of my later behavior in university. But
Me too.
I understand.
Yeah.
I
Me
understand
too.
completely.
Exactly.
Woo-hoo.
I completely understand. Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
Oh, yeah.
being Greek and being the eldest child, being female, I had a lot of strict rules.
Yeah.
And what's interesting, it's like as soon as I turned 18, it's like, okay, you're an adult. You can date now. I'm like, what? Before that, I couldn't talk to a guy on the phone.
Wow.
Meanwhile, I had a hidden naughty streak that never got out. So
Everybody's got that though.
yeah, but when I say hidden, I mean, around the stairwell, you know, during an evening performance of something when I was supposed to be guarding a door. Meanwhile, I was, at
I
another
see.
door, but
one of those. Okay.
yeah.
All right.
So, but no, but I was a people pleaser. I was very boring. I didn't do any shenanigans. Didn't do anything. It's the don't do anything that'll get people upset. Don't do this. Don't do that. And that's who I was. And if there was something that I wanted to do that would please me, if you know what I'm talking about, then it was done very discreetly and very infrequently. Like it was just if it happened.
Yeah.
But no, I was the quintessential good girl, people pleaser, overachiever, wanting to, where marks were concerned, athletic. I played sports. I played baseball all through high school, women's softball. That was me. I kind of went a little bit more wilder in university. Yeah. But still, I lived at home, traveled to U of T downtown.
Oh, you went to U of T. Okay.
Yes. I went downtown, and just.
That's
cool. I appreciate it. Thank you. I have a question.
I'm actually surprised, Greg, that you thought, Craig, that you thought I was a different type of person. I was the captain of the chess team.
Yeah. Okay.
So,
okay. Right.
I was captain of the chess team.
Okay.
And
I
was in the music program. So really, it was just.
Oh my God! I was like suspended.
Yeah. Jenn was a shit disturber. She really was.
Okay.
She was an absolute shit disturber.
Can I just tell Robin something first before we change tacks here? Robin, my biggest regret in OAC was not taking algebra and geometry. I took finite and calculus. My calculus teacher, the first one, he was nicknamed Fast Eddie because back in the 70s, he was rumored to have done, drugs with students in the back.
Oh, nice.
Okay.
Right. Fast and easy, Eddie.
Yeah. Well, this man also stared at my breasts all the time. And I had a U2 t-shirt where the decal was over my, you got it.
Yeah, like
love you too.
Was right over, my chest. So
you read it often.
Yeah, the faces were more distorted.
Elongated. Yeah, right.
Like those bobbleheads, like the bigger head.
Yeah.
And I remember asking him one day to go to the washroom. He was just like casually half sitting on the top of a desk, and he was staring at me. But my chest literally was eye level with him, and he was just staring at my breasts. And he mentioned something about, oh, those faces, they look really big, don't they?
Wow.
This guy was a creep.
Ew.
This guy was a creep.
Yuck.
And he would
yuck.
He would I'd be working, I'm short. I'd be working at my desk, and he would literally come behind me and then come over, put his hands and his arms on my desk and cage me in. And he did this in full view of everyone.
Wow.
No one said shit. And I ended up getting a 67 in his calculus class, which I never understood because I did all of the homework correctly. Everything. But when it came time for the tests and the final exam, it was like I was being raked over the coals. It was like we were given stuff that I've never seen before in my life.
Yeah.
So I had to end up retaking calculus because I was like, I can't get into university with this. I did maths in OAC. So no, he's not still teaching.
But I'm sure he's the reason why there's blue pages.
Yeah.
And the professional.
He's one of many.
Who
Yeah.
doesn't
Yeah.
read the blue pages? Be honest.
That's
let's
the only
say-
reason why.
you don't read
Exactly.
anything else in that
Hate to say
magazine.
it. Hate to
got
say it. I
It's
know.
the only reason why.
I
The
know a
only
blue.
reason why you look at it.
That's
Yeah,
right.
I know. I
It's
hate
like,
to
oh,
say it. I
all
know
right,
a
I know
blue.
Idiot of
someone
the
who's
month
gotten in
now. You know,
trouble.
it's like,
I know a blue. I know a blue page. I'm not going to mention their name, but I know a blue pager.
several, Craig. Walks of
Yeah.
life.
Yeah.
I know one. I know one.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
know one as well.
But to
So,
answer,
Sad
to
it has
answer
to be
your,
like
to
that,
answer
but-
your math, though, I keep telling my kids, my grade 12 kids, and I had this in 1 year at Jeffries where I had, I think it was 2012, I had 4 students that went into Schulich School of Business.
yeah.
And one of them took my data management course. The other 3 opted to take a spare versus taking the data management course, the only data management course offered at that time.
Uh-huh.
And I warned them, say, no, you guys should be taking your this data management course. You're going to need the probability and statistics
Yeah.
for your
Which,
And
by
for
the
your-
way,
Permutations.
Robin
Permutations,
is
combinations.
an expert. Robin, when it comes to probability, do not play poker with Robin.
No,
Good
I
to
found
know.
out the hard way.
We
Good
found
to
out
know.
the hard way. We lost our
I'll
house.
tell you, but I will say this though, that these kids came back because they have first year stats. They have to take a first year stats course. And the one kid that took stats or took the data management course with me got an A plus. The other 3 barely scratched out a D. And to this
Wow.
day, they still tell me that they regret not taking the
Should
data
have
management
Taking
course.
the
Well,
data
with me-
management.
With me, I made the mistake of listening to my friends because algebra and geometry is actually, I'm very good at algebra and geometry, better than anything else, to be honest with you. But my friends were like, oh my God, it's so hard. We can barely do it. You shouldn't take it. It's not whatever. So I'm like, okay, I'll take finite and calculus. I ended up doing calculus over again because of that screwed up teacher. And I got an 80%. And then, but finite, I loved the teacher, but my God, for an English teacher, I had problems with word problems. I'm more that the logical side of my brain.
It's a
I don't know
different
if that's
course.
a thing. You know what I mean? But the logical side of my brain, I think I'm almost balanced, right brain, left brain.
Right.
And that's why I was able to do 2 OAC maths and use them to get into university, which
It's
like
amazing.
on the inverse, woohoo, cross curricular. My sister used her language credit in Greek to get into university as opposed to taking OAC or doing the maths to get in. But she also contracts herself out to companies like Johnson & Johnson because she went on to do her bachelor's of science in genetics and molecular structure and then
My
got
goodness.
her master's in biotechnology.
That's impressive.
So she had to do statistics. She's a project manager. She runs clinical trials. I'm sure she does more than that now. I just don't know. She works in Europe. She's in Europe, and I miss her terribly. But like it's funny how she didn't do the math. I'm an English and history teacher and just about anything else under the sun right now.
I hear ya.
Yeah, but I did math. I took math to get in because and the reason why algebra and geometry should have been my number 1 pick was because when I got to university, I wanted to do a minor in computer studies.
Oh, good Lord. No, then you needed the algebra and geometry for sure.
And I didn't know
Yeah.
that. It didn't say that. And when I realized that I couldn't do the minor because I didn't have algebra and geometry, I wanted to beat my head against the wall.
Mhm.
It really pissed me off because I struggled in finite. I couldn't stand it. I don't want these. The only thing really that I take is the words probabilities, permutations, and echelons and use them in English. Like, oh, that person is on the upper echelon of society.
Matrix.
Like
They did matrices too in that course.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and things like
Can
that.
I interrupt for 1 second?
Yeah.
My friend Jen Grostanis, who is an amazing English teacher, wants to know, Robin,
Yes.
if you read Taleb, if you're into statistics. Taleb. Do you know what that
Talent.
is?
No, I'm not familiar with talent.
Ooh, we don't know.
No.
Sorry, Jen.
No, sorry.
We don't know.
Guys, excuse me 1 second.
Mm.
No problem. I only took about 3 courses in stats in university, so I didn't.
take it. I've never taken math since grade 10.
So
I didn't take math since grade 11. Yeah,
I
11
had
business
to take
math.
grade 10 twice.
11 business math was my last one, and that was it for me. I was like, yeah, I'm done. I'm out.
I can
Okay.
actually teach grade 9 math.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay, so there's a few things I want to talk with you guys about. We've been at this now for well over an hour, which is great
It's
talking with
amazing.
you.
This
Thank
is
you
amazing.
honestly, thank you guys for doing this with us tonight. We really
thank you for
appreciate your
inviting
time.
us.
Yeah, thank
Um,
you
yeah.
for this.
This
opportunity.
this won't be the last time, believe me. So I have a question for you guys. It's interesting, sometimes when you go through high school and you see some of the people that are terrified of a microphone, terrified of public speaking. How do these people become teachers? Because I know a few of them that I went to high school with that are teachers. You literally could not have paid them to stand in front of a classroom and do a presentation. I've just always found it interesting how people that are so socially, just quiet and to themselves, just, go through life, do their thing. It's all cool, but they just don't like public speaking, and they don't like, as I say, putting a microphone in their hand or anything like that. They end up becoming teachers. It's interesting.
You got to take a risk. It's like when introverts become teachers.
Yeah.
I consider myself an introvert. As much as I'm like hyper, I would rather be alone or with this very small group of people. I
Mhm.
don't like going to conferences. I don't like mixing and mingling with people.
Mhm.
But in a classroom, it's like you have control over that. You have control over what you say, how you say it, how quickly you say it. There's like a different level of control there. Whereas for students, they don't have any control. So they might be very afraid of public speaking.
Mhm.
Actually, I think.
I make them videotape everything, audio tape it.
Yeah, yeah, but when it comes to teachers, that's a very interesting thing. There are times when I'm going to present, let's say, at a staff meeting, and I still feel that little thrill or that trepidation, to be honest
Yep.
with you, that, I'm speaking in front of my peers who will judge me. You know, students can judge you as well, but at the same time, you're the authority in front of them.
Mhm.
Whereas you are a peer, a colleague when you're doing those staff meetings.
I have to lead a staff meeting tomorrow.
Yeah. So it
Makes me unhappy.
And it's
yeah,
interesting too, because I've always found that being teacher, it's like it's in a lot of ways it's like being a nurse. It's a calling. Like it's
yeah.
for a lot of people that really do it and do it well and enjoy it and do it for years, it's absolutely a calling. By the time you hit grade 11, grade 12, it's like, yeah, this is what I'm doing. So, I've just always found it fascinating when you see people that, can't get up and present their grade 12 English Hamlet presentation, but then for a living, they stand and talk to people with all eyes on them kind of thing. I've just always found that really interesting.
Well, it depends on who those people are. If they're people in their company and they've been at the company for a couple of years, those colleagues become their people. Just like teachers when they're teaching their students, maybe at first it gets a little nerve wracking, then it gets easier because then they get to know the students. All of a sudden, the students aren't strangers.
Yeah.
The students are their people, right? So
Our people. Yeah, our
Yeah.
people.
yeah, our people, right?
Yeah.
So I think that lends some support to that. And also the fact is, well, you wouldn't get into this profession if you couldn't speak in front of students,
Yeah.
right?
Absolutely.
Like I think if they had that absolute god awful fear of public speaking, it
It's
would never
not
have
the
led to
career for
education,
them.
No, it's not.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
not.
you know.
Yeah.
You have to be able to articulate your thoughts and lead. And if you can't
Exactly.
do that, you can't do this.
Yeah.
Whereas I've always been triggered by being examined. So for me, like I went through the Royal Conservatory of Music when I was
Yeah, and they judge you in that.
oh yeah. So
Oh,
when
definitely.
Oh, yeah.
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 piano,
I've
right?
gotten
I did.
judged
I did
before.
it too. Yeah, I did it for
Yeah.
guitar. Yeah.
So I'm a young kid and I go in there and I go sit at the piano. There's like at least 3 instructors who are watching you and judging you.
Yeah.
And I've taken this, that trigger, that trepidation, and it follows me into interviews.
Mm.
So
Interviews are so stressful.
yeah.
Mhm.
And that's why I've had, I don't know, maybe I've just had a very disgruntling year this year. There have been many positions I should have gotten and I didn't because of certain reasons. And yes, that's their prerogative to choose who they want.
That's the problem.
Right? And I can't control that. I can't even say it's fair or unfair, but what I can say, what it does to me, is that it's another chunk out of my self-esteem. It's another chunk out of my pride.
Effie,
in the
if
work that I
someone
do.
doesn't hire you, they're absolutely nuts.
They're lost.
Thank
They're lost.
They're
you.
lost.
I'd say that about any of the three of you. Absolutely.
You're
Yeah.
incredible.
I know all of you, and I know all
Incredible.
three of you are very passionate and good. Like not good, exceptional at what you all do. So I would say the same thing about all
Well,
of you, Jen.
the thing that we fall back on is that I just look at it this way. I go, listen, A, I'm not working for the administrators.
Bingo.
B, I'm not working to pad my resume and make myself look good. I'm not looking for people to go, oh, good for you, good for you, good for you. Why? That doesn't help my students.
Yeah.
I'm there for my students. So no matter what, whether I'm an ACL or whether I'm a classroom teacher, any of these new things, if no one wants to listen to me and my ideas, that's fine. Screw them. I'm going to use my ideas and my methodologies in my classroom. I'm going to make sure that I can measure the achievement in certain ways so that if anyone asks me, I could say, yeah, well, you see, when I applied for that position and you denied me that position because you wanted someone whom you could manipulate. Sorry, I'm getting a little catty and a little snarky here, but this is what happened.
Yeah.
At my at a particular school. You want someone with 10 years of experience. Hey, that's great. Because that person's going to do whatever the principal wants. Right? I'm here, 23 years of experience, brain, smart, and I know what I'm doing.
Mhm.
So, so don't come to me and ask me to take over initiatives because I'm not the ACL. Thank you very much. Tell your ACL to create them. I've done my time. You didn't want me. You wanted that person. Go
Right.
for it.
I had a similar situation at CW Jeffries. I was 7 years there. The last 7 years
Yeah.
I was at Jeffries. I was the ACL, and when I took over the math department, it was in shambles.
It was.
It was an absolute shambles. Our pass rates were awful. As much as I'm against them, our EQAO scores were horrible. I mean,
Yeah.
we only had 4% of kids in 9 applied that were hitting the provincial standard.
Yeah.
And when I took over as ACL, there was certain initiatives that I felt we need to get this going. We need to get some more technology in the classroom and so forth. We got to change our teaching practices. We really have to buy into this differentiated instruction because this is not, you're not going to walk into a class of 30 and they're all academic kids. I'm fortunate to have it now at Bethune, but when I was there at Jeffries, no, that wasn't happening.
No.
We had a lot of kids there that couldn't put a coherent sentence together. And Jenn knows, she taught there. Right? In fact, the first year I was at Jeffries, Jenn, that was also her first year, we had the Jordan Manor shooting.
Yeah.
I saw the kid being wheeled out in a stretcher.
Outside of my drama room, he got shot to death.
Jesus, that's
Jen,
the type of school that we're doing.
Right outside my door.
That was the school that everyone said, go Jeffries, I'm not going to go there.
Ew, don't go to Jeffries. Yeah.
But it took 7 years for our math department to end up, we went from 4% of students in grade 9 applied to my final year. We had 80% of our students achieving the provincial standard.
Amazing.
That's unbelievable.
That's amazing.
And the reason why I walked away,
Gopal, right? With Gopal,
Gopal was the VP.
Yeah.
But the reason why I walked away wasn't because of Gopal.
Oh no, I wouldn't think so.
Gopal would have been the reason for me to stay.
Yeah.
Right.
But as I said, I'm not going to get into the reason why I departed.
But
when the possibility showed
Neither
up,
can I.
The possibility of leaving Jeffries came about. A lot of people said maps don't work. I'm living proof. Maps work.
Wow.
Because I was looking at the maps and there was a teacher at Bethune that says, I'm looking for a full math timetable
in the West End.
Off of just close to the 400. Duh. Mm-hmm. Hello. I'll do it. I'll do it. I'll set it up. I had a hard time getting my principal to sign it, mind you. But nonetheless, got it signed. Best career decision. Bethune is the school I want to retire in. And I can retire in 6 years, 8 months, and 6 days. I'm looking forward to that retirement day.
I'm going to wait until I'm like 56.
Yeah.
6 years, baby.
Hey, you guys are all great.
6 days. I got it down to a T. I've been counting since 20 years.
Yeah.
You want to hear to a T? You want to hear to a T?
Yeah.
April 30th, 2027 would be my last teaching day if I retired then.
Wow.
May 1st, 2027, right before my 56th birthday.
Excellent.
Like,
I
have to be 56.
I have been told. I don't know if you remember this math teacher I had, Jenn, Joel Wertzman.
Sure.
When we met up, I don't know if you remember Helen Fox. She was there the first year we were there, or actually the first semester she was there. She retired in the January the first year I was there. She had passed away, and I was at her funeral, and Joel and Dave were there, and so was Allie. So they were all there. The old school math teachers were all there. And Joel told me, he said, "When can you retire?" I said, I gave him a breakdown, very similar to what I told you guys. And he told me, and not a day more. He told me, he says, with the side tutoring business he's doing, he said, if I had known, I would have made the exact same salary, collecting a pension and doing tutoring on the side, I would have retired years ago.
Yeah.
Do you still talk to Allie ever?
Allie has retired.
Aw, he was cute,
He was Allie. Little did I know Allie, what he did. He set it all up so he can leave, and that I could replace him.
Yeah.
If there was ever a person who said, "Robin, who was your mentor?" I said, I did not meet a mentor until I arrived at CW Jeffries, and I had already been teaching 2.5 years in the private system, half year at York Catholic, and already 6 years into Toronto District School Board. And I still couldn't say at that point in time that I had a mentor. Then Allie, I knew Allie because at one time I was also the head of math at Downsview. And we had met at heads meetings, and we always had good conversations. And so I have to tell you the interview for that one, that was really, there was like 19 people applied for that one teaching position. 13 interviews went down, and I was interview number 13. Okay? And Ali just done number 12, and I know who it was because the other teacher and I did night school together. And then I did not know this until after Ali had left, but Ali picked himself up and started collecting his stuff. And at that time it was Stan and Anne. Stan Gordon was the VP, and Ann Kojima, who was retiring principal. We got a new principal in here that Jen and I started. So they were going to interview me, but Ali was packing things up and getting ready to go. And they were asking, well, why are you going? We still have this one more interview, this Robin McKay person. And Ali says, I've seen the other 12 characters. I'm endorsing him. He pointed at my resume. I'm endorsing him. And he walked out.
Wow.
And then he walked over to me, shook my hand, says, just go in there and do a good interview. So that's the part I knew about it. He just shook my hand, said, just go in there and do a good interview. Okay. I had no idea he'd done that.
That's awesome.
Until after he left Jeffries. And for that, I'm forever
in debt. Yeah.
Because the final 2 years I was at Downsview was hell. I was ready to quit teaching at that point. I needed somewhere else to go.
Monday Gala gave me my first ACL.
Yeah.
I love Monday.
Monday is an interesting character. If you don't know him well, you love him. And if you know him well, not as much.
Okay, so then
But he gave me my first ACL in English at Jeffries. And I was ACL for 1 year. And
that was at Jeffries, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
And then I moved to Henry as the ACL. And I was ACL at Henry for like 4 years or 5 years or something.
Was it that extended ACL situation?
Yeah, when it went from 3 years to 4 years. Yeah.
Yeah, that was from September 2013
to June 2017. Yeah.
To 2017, yes.
Yeah, so I had that
changing
job.
over of the government.
And Henry, the people were bitches.
Yeah, I remember.
Okay, this is live. Okay, so we're gonna move
just
on.
Want to make one comment. I know you two ladies knew Monday Gala. I knew Monday Gala very well. He was like a brother to me. But that's all I'm going to say on that matter.
Yeah, I worked.
The word was.
Was.
No, the word was a brother to me. Okay, so
he changed.
I'll leave it at that.
Okay, so Craig.
Yeah, so I've actually we're going to get wrapping things up here, folks, because I really do appreciate you guys. I do have one question for you before we'll sort of do final thoughts, kind of from everybody, for parents and students and fellow peers, teachers and all of that good stuff. Doug Ford talking about getting rid of consistently always says getting rid of cell phones and extra technology from schools. As far as I'm concerned, I think he's absolutely fucking ridiculous. Number one, sorry for the language, but
you deserve that.
I'm so tired of people getting to the point, and I've even heard it from teachers and administrators and stuff saying, well, it's distracting and it's this and it's that and all that sort of stuff. But then I look at my wife who uses technology in her classroom to her advantage, and her students are engaged and they're paying attention and they're not, searching TikTok videos on her, during her classroom and all of that stuff. She's got them using technology to her advantage, and especially
to their advantage.
To their advantage, correct.
Their advantage.
It's not even to the teacher's advantage, it's to the advantage of the students, right? Those are the ones.
You can't play a good Kahoot without your phone.
Oh, God forbid.
Right.
I love my Kahoots.
Kahoots are awesome.
Yeah.
So I don't know. What do you guys think? I think because Robin, you've actually touched on technology a couple of times now in this conversation, and how just positive it is, a positive experience it is for your students. Am I taking crazy pills here or something? I think, as far as I'm concerned, technology should always be allowed, and it should start moving forward, right?
you use whatever resources are at your disposal to forward children's education. And if it's a Mentimeter where you're doing like brainstorming and you get like a word cloud, or you're using Kahoot, or you're using Jamboard, you have to use what's available. And the more you use, the more the kids are with you.
Right.
And the more entertaining you can be. Because I have found as an online teacher,
Mm-hmm.
being entertaining is half the battle.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've
No,
seen Effie teach in the past, like kind of just sort of poking my head. When you were at Lamoureux,
Oh,
Jen
yeah,
would
yeah.
say,
I remember
Jen
that.
would say to me, Effie's right across the hallway. You got to see how fucking awesome she is. Just pop your head across her front. And I would sit, and I would sort of just kind of like peek my head kind of around the corner and just sit and like watch you
Effie
for like
has
5
her
minutes.
kids in the palm of her hand.
Every single
my
person I've
God.
ever spoken
Every
to,
Yeah, like
day.
a super
every single
teacher. I'm
every
you're a
single person that I've
superstar,
ever,
Effie.
You're a superstar.
just
App.
accept the fact that you're a superstar. Accept it. Yeah, I've heard nothing but good things about Robin McCabe's classrooms as well too. So, it's just I've like for me, it's like I equate it to being a musician. It would be like me saying, okay, the only way that you can make music is on analog reel-to-reel tape. Forget a digital studio. The only way that you can make music from now on is on analog tape. And people would look at you going, Are you insane? What are you talking about, Doug Ford? Can you imagine Doug Ford saying, yeah, musicians, the only way you're going to make music moving forward is by
Well, he's still
analog
using
reel-to-reel tape.
2013 BlackBerry, right? And he's got like a whole store of those.
Yeah.
But
I
the
think-
point, but you know what? It's interesting. The two of you, like Jen and Robin, have touched on technology. The funny thing is, I haven't mentioned it yet because it wasn't my main focus, and it was already discussed. But I've been engaged in using technology for years. My technology has been in place before the pandemic.
Yep.
Uh,
When
Yep.
you and I,
Yeah.
Effie, when you and I talked about media like 4 years ago or whenever we did, we were already using technology that other teachers didn't know about.
Yeah.
And we were already analyzing media in very sophisticated ways.
Yeah, because
And other
media literacy
teachers
and
were
the
not.
media
Other
convention-
teachers would say, make a poster. It's media.
Yay. But
And
what
we're
about
like, make
that
a
media?
poster.
Where are the media conventions?
Are
Today
you
I'm
using the
selling-
rule of thirds?
Yeah.
Oh my God. I love the
I
rule
hear-
of thirds.
I know.
Teaching in grade 10.
I know.
You can move them and show them the interest in the photography course in grade 11. You're doing cross-curricular work at the same time as you're teaching a really important concept.
Yep.
Yeah.
And you're appealing to kinesthetic and visual learners.
Jen back in the day with her kids, when she would teach like Hamlet or something like that, would say at the time Facebook was still big with kids, right?
Mhm.
It's not so much anymore.
Oh, no,
They're all
not
into
now.
TikTok and
During
Snapchat
Facebook.
and all that stuff and Instagram.
Yeah.
But at the time, Facebook was still a big thing with kids, and she would say, make a Hamlet Facebook group. And tag all your friends in this group, and then you can all have conversations about Hamlet, and then what you can also do.
I did it as different characters.
Right. Yeah. So
Yeah.
they
Oh,
would
yeah.
different characters in the book would make a Facebook group. Right. So it was just brilliant how she would come up with things like this. And I'm like, why doesn't everybody do this? I mean, kids are going to find that so much more interesting than sitting and flipping a page in a book and stuff. Right. Like,
Yeah.
I think to get back to the original question you were asking, Craig, I think the reason that I was successful during the time of my ACL shift, is because of that technological aspect. I mean, for crying out loud, this is the 21st century. I'm not going to teach 15th century concepts using archaic 19th century methods.
right.
We're in the 21st century now. We are in the digital age.
Yep.
What
And we
business?
can't do a disservice to our students by
Exactly.
not recognizing
absolutely agree.
Because
that.
they are
Right.
exposed to that. And
Yep.
what better way? And you know what? Our numbers during the time that I was ACL, they speak for themselves. Right? I had phenomenal teachers, right? And I'll send a prop up there or pop up there to Jason Toe, who by far, I will
Yeah,
say 1
Jason.
million times, I wish I was the math teacher Jason Toe is. Jason Toe is a
He's incredible.
phenomenal
Wow.
You know,
teacher.
Jason's incredible.
And I learned so much with Jason that I embraced the technology and said, you know what? This is the direction we're going to go.
Yeah.
We ended up having 2 or 3 smart boards in our department. And still, I know what that's at Jeffrey's right now. There's the smart board that I was using is collecting dust.
Well, there's a problem with that. You know why, right? The
Well, I know.
TDSP has
They stopped the
completely
licensing for it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they
And
won't
I think they're
fix
going
any
for
smart boards.
Prometheus or something like that.
Promethean whiteboard and Active Inspire is what they're using in the meantime.
Whiteboard is being used as a projector screen.
Yeah. Yeah. So this is a situation where the TDSB was given initiatives and money, doled it out to schools. The schools took these initiatives, this money, sank it into, let's say macro pieces
Yes.
of tech. Some students with IEPs have special education or special equipment assistant claims. So we call them SIA claims that involve a whiteboard. And that's the reason why, for instance, Lamoureux has a Promethean whiteboard. But guess what? Now that student is gone, graduated, we still have the whiteboard. But we're using it is being used with
Thank
the
God.
technology, with Active Inspire. But all the smart technology gone. On our TDSB desktop, we have smart ideas, right? And that is like inspiration, where it's graphic organizers. And I've been using digital graphic organizers, digital OSSLT, reading and writing skills and stuff like that. Google Classrooms, I've got like minimum 10 to 12 of them on my Google Classroom screen. I've been doing them for years as supplements because I don't want anyone telling me I went on vacation for 2 weeks and I came back. I can't do this. I can't do that. You know what? No. Did you have access? Did you have your phone? Yes. Well, you could have gotten Google Classroom on your phone. Therefore, you had access and you could have done it. So,
Brightspace too, yeah.
Right? Or let's say someone is sick.
Yeah,
in
Brightspace
their home,
too.
right? They need the lessons and things like that. So, and I've been using Loom. I have a teacher account on Loom. I create teaching videos and I embed them in the lessons for students to watch, like how to create Google Blogger, how to create a blog on Google Blogger, how to use Shakespeare Online with the online site license, how to do this, how to do that. Technology I've been using for so long. And now, it's like all of a sudden everyone's exploding with, I want to do technology and this, that, whatever. And you have to. And it's like, people, I've been doing it for years. Do you want to listen to me now? Do you want to listen to me now? Right?
Yeah.
I didn't sit there and do my teacher librarian specialist and not learn about app smashing, which I've learned. I didn't do global competencies, and everything I've done is digital. Everything I've done is using technology because this is the wave of the future. We are teaching 21st century students, and we can't use 20th century technology to do it.
Right.
I haven't held a piece of chalk since 2012.
Say it again.
Are you serious?
You
Say
what?
that again.
I have not held a piece of chalk since 2012.
Wow.
Oh,
That's
I'm into
friggin'
the
awesome,
chalk.
man.
I'm
That
into
is
the
sick.
chalk.
The quality of the chalk.
And
That-
I'm the math teacher. I'm a
Robin-
math teacher, and I have
The
not touched a piece
flow
of
of
chalk since
chalk
2012.
is delightful. Mwah.
Everything
Robin,
is tech-based.
Robin, you have to put that on a t-shirt. You have to put that on a t-shirt. Like, I'm telling you, you have got to put.
The days
I have
of
not lifted a piece of
talk
chalk
and
since
are
2012.
Over.
Talk and
It's
chalk, I love
over,
it.
And people need
Yeah.
to realize
I like
they
chalk.
need to embrace what we have now. It's a gift. For crying out loud, my grade 12s, grade 11 kids, their phone is now a graphing calculator.
Yeah. I want to show you something quickly. My iPad, that's my Apple Pencil. I mark on this.
Yeah.
So this is my, because marking online sucks.
Oh, tell me about it.
Sucks the big one.
Well,
Okay.
it sucks when you have text
Yeah.
to mark, like essays,
Right.
paragraphs.
So what I do
Sucks.
It does.
is when they put them into
You
Google
annotate,
Classroom,
right?
what?
You annotate.
I'm annotating, but marking as if they were paper in front of me.
Yes.
With it.
Yes.
And it's faster because I don't want to mark in a linear fashion. And that's what, unfortunately, the online learning and the tech makes us do.
Yes,
It
that's right.
makes us mark linearly. And I can't do that. I have to be able to flip here, flip there, right here, right there, do an arc quickly.
Yeah.
You know,
I much prefer the pen and paper.
so
Versus
that's
having
why.
to do
But
that.
this
Yeah.
is my tech.
Yeah.
This is my tech. I'm with you right now on my own laptop,
Yep,
which is
same
5
here.
years old, but I spruced it up because I know I pulled out the 1 terabyte hard drive and I put in a 486 gig SSD. And I've made it brand spanking new in a sense, and the thing is like lightning. I put a 256 gig in the old 13, 14-year-old desktop that I have down here right behind the laptop.
Mhm.
And I fixed that up, and I can use that as a backup. And I do use that very much.
Yeah.
I have a couple of
my
desktops I
iPad.
need fixing. Can I send it your way?
Yeah. Yeah.
I need,
Honestly,
I need a massive upgrade.
It's sometimes just listening to my wife and hearing, one of the things that I love doing is when I would take Jen to school, I would listen to News Talk 1010 is one of my favorite radio stations.
We
And
love AM radio.
And God rest her soul. One person that unfortunately isn't with us anymore was just an absolute a massive critic of just how antiquated the TDSB in general is as an organization, was Christy Blatchford. And listening to Christy Blatchford talk about TDSB. I know you guys are all TDSB teachers, so you can't really say anything, but I can guarantee you every single parent that's going to be watching this in the future is going to be doing this. Yep. He's absolutely right. Yep. Absolutely right. So anyway, folks, just to finish up, I really want to say thank you to everyone here for joining us tonight. Is there any final thoughts that you would like to say in regards to everything that you do for a living, things that you've had to deal with over the past year during COVID? You've all done incredible work, and every single one of us applauds teachers for the learning curve and the pivoting, like you say, that you've had to do, Effie, for the entire year. So bless all of you. Honestly, as far as I'm concerned, teachers should be paid just as much as a doctor or a lawyer, but that's my opinion. Can you guys just, give any final thoughts as to,
Yes. We are with our students 100. We support our kids. And that's what we're here to do, whether we're doing it virtually or in person. We are here to support the future of education. And we're with our kids, and we love our kids, and we invest in our kids. And that is what a teacher needs to do, especially in this century when everything is in flux and everything is changing and uncertain, and we can't guarantee our kids the same future that we had because it's a different future now. But we're behind them, and we're here to give them the skills they need to be successful in the future. And that is our purpose. Connect with them and give them the skills they need to pass on to the next level with success.
Mm-hmm. Awesome, Jen. Thanks.
Yeah. Everything Jen said. And also, I think it's the fact, something that this pandemic has emphasized for everybody, not just me or Jen or Robin, because, as educators, I am pretty sure that we've already always been tuned in and tapped into the well-being of our students. There are times when we follow rules, or let's say deduct marks for late assignments. I haven't deducted a late mark for an assignment for years.
Nope,
And
neither have I.
that's because that is not a testament for a demonstration of learning. But something that is in our vision for learning in the Toronto District School Board, and for once, um, I actually see this vision, and it basically aligns with my own. And is that if you want achievement, well-being needs to be up there as well. They're like a tripod, but now they've changed the vision for learning in the sense that well-being and student achievement must be not only have equity, but must look through those with an equity lens. So equity is very, very important. And I've been working a lot towards that, and doing it, not just teaching my students, but doing my own professional development at the same time on anti-racist lessons, and culturally relevant and
Pedagogy, yeah.
responsive pedagogy, anti-oppression, looking into Black and Indigenous authors. You should see the stuff that I have, Jen, like what just came right now here from Amazon that I've been ordering. You Are Your Best Thing: Vulnerability, Shame, Resilience, and the Black Experience. Something for me to read. And also, and I left it upstairs, but it's called The Great Black North. And it's a book of Canadian Black poets and their poetry. And I
Wow.
Nice.
That's awesome.
Nice.
I'd love to read that. Yeah.
You know what? I would love an alternative to like Langston Hughes and Maya Angelou. Like,
well, this is
yeah.
this
Whoa,
is
Jennifer.
thing, right? That
Love
we're this is the big thing that we're going through right now. There are so many great contemporary novels from Black authors and their own voices. They think hashtag own voices, and like from Black authors and Indigenous authors. But a lot of them involve a lot of the trauma that has been going on for the past 2, 3, 4, 5 years, 10 years, 50 decades. And it's this intergenerational trauma. And my issue right now is, do I want to do a book about a shooting that takes a young Black life and then someone fighting against it? Who is this going to hurt? How can I pass this off to help these students?
And how can you not appropriate their voice?
Yeah, like I don't want to. I want to be an ally. I don't want to cast myself in the role of white savior, because that is wrong.
Right.
So there's always the girl with the louding voice. I've heard of that one. Here's another one people are looking at: Akata Witch, Afrofuturism, like Wakanda, Black Panther.
Nice.
Yeah, so that's an
Nice.
option. And I just finished reading Wabgashig Rice, Indigenous author, Anishinaabe, and it's called Moon of the Crusted Snow. This is going to be part of a series. It's very introspective, though, not very much. It's more passive as opposed to active, but it's a great book for thinking. I don't know about for grade 9s. And then because I did, look at this, because I did this in a workshop, I got a free copy of Rhymes to Re-Education, a hip hop curriculum resource guide for educators with social justice activities. So I'm so excited. Ask Jen. I'm called the resource queen.
See, something like that. Like
nothing like that.
I think that last book that you were talking about, that's fantastic, because there's just so many people don't realize just how many incredible conscious hip-hop artists there are out there. There's just so many that really not only make a difference, but try to have a voice and shed light on essentially the
Public
Black
Enemy
experience.
was huge in my lessons last year with my grade 10s.
Yeah.
I had
Or
no choice.
Tupac
Yeah.
as a poet. Yeah.
Tupac and Common and Talib
Tupac
Kweli
as
and,
a
I love
poet.
Common.
Outcast, were huge. I mean, they were definitely, on the alternative kind of side of things. Most Def and A Tribe Called Quest, EPMD,
Yeah,
Eric B. and Rakim. I mean, I could go on forever and ever and ever, right? So, but I
just
won't.
interrupt for 1 second, Jen? A book
Yeah.
that I just purchased by a queer author, T.J. Klune. He's ventured into YA, and the book is called The Extraordinaries, and it's about a possible superhero, but it's got all the tech that we're doing in the beginning, so the writing is structured like that. Maria, my daughter, is reading it right now, and she's telling me so far it's good, because I wanted to get her take on it. She's a grade 9 student. And
I don't believe she's a grade 9 now.
I know.
Oh my
I know.
gosh.
Oh.
Robin as a kid going into college.
Unbelievable. Robin, that's
No.
incredible.
First year college.
Wow, that's amazing.
Wow.
Yeah,
Good for her.
it's amazing.
Talented
Yeah,
artist.
she is
of a
very.
kid.
Wow.
Yeah,
Love
That's
you've
amazing.
seen her work, so yeah.
Oh yeah.
It's-
Oh yeah.
Lovely
That's amazing.
kid.
Robin, final thoughts from you, my friend.
Well, I know that, and I'm joined by these two ladies down here. If anybody out there ever get these people as teachers, I will tell you they will do whatever it takes to get your kid to be successful. Right?
Yep.
And we will
True.
do. I do that as well. We do whatever it takes to be successful, and that's what the important thing is right now. Our goal has always been, and I think if anything that this pandemic has done, it's reassure us that what we are doing, right, is best for our students, and we're going to get out of this pandemic. It's going to be a long process of healing, from all sides here. But I tell you,
thank you.
one thing we will do is we will continue to provide high quality education to your kids. We're
Yep.
going to continue doing that,
Yeah.
and we're going to get through this.
Yeah.
We're going to get through
Yeah,
this.
we
In
will.
fact, the light at the end of the tunnel is there. Right?
Yeah. It is. Yeah.
We're slowly getting there, but
Yeah.
it's there, and I see it. And I think we may not ever get back to normal, but hey, we can adapt.
Yep.
We're adaptable people.
Now,
Sorry.
sorry. One thing I will say too is just because of what you guys have had to do over the past year, over the past however many months, I guess it's been several months now, is nothing short of extraordinary. Essentially, you guys are now, what Jennifer has done being a curriculum leader for online learning. She is the yardstick for something like online learning moving forward. As far as I'm concerned, if this government completely abolishes online learning, it will just absolutely solidify the fact that I think that they are all absolutely useless. They have been, they've botched this pandemic spectacularly, and hopefully they don't screw up education any more than some already have. So, anyway, I am going to leave it at that for me because I could sit and rant and rave about this government, which I won't do. Thought criminal. So I just wanted to say to all of you, thank you all so very, very much from the bottom of our hearts for everything that you all do, because what you guys do, I couldn't do. And, it just means the world to us that, this is AMG is saying this here. Every shot opens another pinprick of light toward the new normal. Amen to that, my friend. So listen, again, thank you all so much for joining us tonight on Revolution Roundtable. This will not be the last episode, I guarantee, with Robin, McCabe, Effie, and Jen. We will definitely do this again. The chat's been lit up tonight, and people are really seeming to enjoy this. This will be available on YouTube, on our YouTube channel. I will send all of you the links so that you'll be able to throw it up on your socials. Tag all your friends that you've been talking about in the show tonight. that math teacher, Robin, you were talking about, that sort of was a yardstick for you while you were at Jeffries. Tag them, right? Because as far as I'm concerned, the more voices that we have out there saying what needs to be said, the better. And so this will be another conversation. There's all sorts of stuff that I could talk with you guys about, but unfortunately we've got to fly because I have to be at work tomorrow morning. So I do appreciate you all. Again, thank you, Robin, Effie, Jen. Thanks so much for joining us tonight. I really greatly appreciate it.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you very
Awesome.
much.
Thanks. And once again, my name is Craig G. Revolution Radio is live 24/7 at revolutionradio.live. All of the links are there. Jump on our website. You can click directly and it takes you onto our Mixcloud page and you can enjoy music 24/7. This stream that we've done here tonight on our with our good friends at Restream will be up on our YouTube page tomorrow morning. And as soon as it's up, I'll make sure that it gets up on the Revolution Radio page and you'll be able to get the link there. Thanks again so much to everybody. I really appreciate it. Robin, Effie, and Jen, have yourselves a good night.
Thanks.
Take care, everybody. Thanks a lot for listening to Revolution